Hi, I'm Linda, and this is No Frills ASMR. So, I have this old Guinness Book of World Records. I think it's from the 70s, but we'll take a look inside and see. And the cover has the Twin Towers on it, and it has the moon rover. Let's see if they tell us here what year. This is 1972, the 11th edition. So I just thought we could look through a little bit of it for fun. I'm sure most of these world records have been surpassed by now. But highest tightrope walk, Carl Wallinda. I remember the flying Wallindas when I was a kid. I was obsessed. I've always been obsessed with people who do daredevil high height things, I think. But the Wallindas were doing they used to do the whole family. They were called the Flying Wallindas. And they do pyramids where like they had chairs and the people would sit on the chairs. And my mom had told me about a thing that happened, I think, before I was born. I don't remember. Where they fell and they had no net. And it was bad. And so after that, I was just so obsessed with watching anybody tightrope walk or Evel Knievel or any of that stuff. I was like, oh my gosh. So this is the highest tightrope walk. Carl Wallinda, age 65, wow, took his 821-foot-long walk in 616 steps over the 750-foot-deep Tallulah Gorge in Georgia in July of 1970. Wow. So they have all these different categories. Here is the tallest man. Robert Wadlow reached the height of 8 feet, 11.1 inches, when he was 22.4 years old. At the time, he weighed 439 pounds after having weighed 491. Yeah, so I wonder what the difference is now. Like, what is the tallest? Oh, this is the tallest man. I guess he must have died. He was 8'11". Tallest living man was Don Kohler, born in Denton, Montana, was pictured recently in Detroit, standing 8 feet 2 inches. So he was a little shorter than I bet they're basketball players that tall. Tallest woman's skeleton, Jane Bunford of England, probably stood 7 feet 7 inches. The shortest adult, only 23.2 inches tall at age 19. You know, it's funny because it is such a nostalgia thing looking at this, because my grandmother was a school teacher, and so she always had the Guinness Book of World Records, the newest version, at her house. And when we'd go there for summer, we'd go for like a week in the summer, I'd sit and look at all these pictures. And I think for years they were these same pictures. The lightest human adult. Lightest. She only weighed 4.7 pounds. Wow. When my twins were born, they weighed 8. Heaviest human of all time. This is Robert Earl Hughes when he weighed only 700 pounds. He later reached a top weight of 1,069 pounds. I always remember this part. He was buried in a coffin the size of a piano case. Heaviest twins, Bill and Ben, weighed 660 and 640. Home of the earliest human. What is this? Oldest centenarian. None has been found to have surpassed 110 years. I've told you guys this, but my grandmother, who just died maybe 6 years ago, she lived to be 104. How crazy is that? 110-year-old woman, Miss Margaret Neve of the Channel Islands, in a photo from 1903. The oldest mother, at age 57, Ruth Kister of California, gave birth to daughter Suzanne. At 57? I mean, that's pretty old, I guess. Oldest surviving triplets. The Luty triplets of England, born in 1891. Oh, how old are they? They don't look that old. They look like they're 60. The heaviest twins, weighing 17 pounds, 8 ounces, and the second weighed 18 pounds. Yeah, that's pretty heavy. Oh my gosh. That would be a lot. The largest baby, a boy weighing 24 pounds, 4 ounces. Wow, wow, wow. Most bouncing baby. The most bouncing baby on record is Elias Dow. At the age of 22 months, Elias weighed 61 pounds, and his circumference was 35 inches. They're saying, like, he's the fattest. Is that what that bouncing? What? I don't even know what that means. Oh my gosh, I remember this picture. We'd all be like, how has she got her organs in there? She had the smallest waist. The most descendants. Oh, that's that. I was going to make a joke, but I can't think of his name, so it's ruined. Never mind. When Captain Wilson Kettle of Newfoundland died in 1963, he left 582 descendants. Really? See page 26. Are they counting his grandchildren? How on earth? Hold on, I gotta see this. Is this him, Captain? Wait. Yeah. Captain Wilson Kettle of Grand Bay, Port au Basque, Newfoundland, Canada, died in 1963, age 102, leaving 11 children by 2 wives. Oh, well, that's different. 65 grandchildren, 201 great-grandchildren, and 305 great-great-grandchildren, a total of 582. Wow, that's cool. Highest morbidity. Rabies in humans is uniformly fatal when associated with hydrophobia symptoms. Oh, that's fear of water, isn't it? A 25-year-old woman was believed to be the first ever to survive. Whoa. The most notorious of all typhoid carriers was Mary Mallon. That's an interesting story, the story of Typhoid Mary. She was known as Typhoid Mary of New York City. She was the source of the 1903 outbreak with 1,300 cases. Because of her refusal to leave employment, often under assumed names, involving the handling of food, she was placed under permanent detention from 1950 until her death in 1938. Yeah, they put her out on that island, and she was like stuck out there. But she kept working even though they knew she was transferring disease. But she also, like, if you didn't work, you didn't, what was she supposed to do? But they did keep telling her to wash her hands, and she didn't. I believe. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. It's an interesting story. I saw it on Drunk History. Most and least infectious disease. The most infectious of all diseases is the pneumonic form of the plague. Oh, yeah. With a mortality rate of 99.99%. Leprosy, transmitted by Mycobacterium leprae, is the least infectious of communicable diseases. Wow. Let's see what the commonest disease. The commonest, isn't that weird? Wouldn't you think would be most common? I didn't know there was a word, commonest. Disease in the world is the commonest disease in the world is dental caries. I think they mean cavities, but I'm not sure. Caries, caries, or tooth decay, known to afflict over 53% of the population of the U.S. During their lifetime, few completely escape its effects. Infestation with pinworms approaches 100% in some areas of the world. Yeah, pinworms, are they the ones that if you walk like barefoot on the dirt, especially in like the South, they can go into your skin through your feet, I think. And then what they do, they go into your, I think your intestinal tract, and they eat like all the nutrients before you get them. And for a while, they thought that like in the South, a lot of kids were having learning issues. And they figured out it was pinworms, and they gave them like a little anti fungal, maybe. I don't know, whatever the pill is you give a worm, a dewormer. That's basically it, a dewormer. And it like fixed them. And they were like, oh, pinworm. Anyway, kind of interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they take fluoride out of the water, how that's going to affect decay. Because now everybody, well, a lot of people use fluoride toothpaste. But I know that when I talked to a person who worked in health, like public health, this was years ago, they said they thought, I said, what do you think is the number one like thing that has helped public health? And I thought they would say, you know, like the polio vaccine or something. But they said fluoride. They didn't say in water or not, but fluoride. And they said before that, people would get tooth infections and it would kill them. Or they'd lose all their teeth and, you know, all kinds of issues. So I thought that was interesting. Blood grooves. Look at this guy's mustache. Mustache at least 102 inches long. I remember that picture too. I remember all these. What is this? Oh yeah, he's swallowing swords. Swallows 4 swords. Alex Linton from Ireland shows how he swallows 4 27-inch blades at one time. I feel like now you see that on America's Got Talent, like every episode. Maybe not. I don't know. Human memory. Mehmed Ali Halasi of Ankara, Turkey, in 1967 recited 6,666 verses of the Quran from memory in 6 hours. That's pretty impressive. This Korean boy with a 210 quotient, I guess that's IQ, at the age of 4 years, 8 months, spoke 4 languages, composed poetry, and performed integral calculus. He is shown in a Tokyo television studio. Don't you always wonder about children like this who are like so brilliant from a young age? We actually knew a guy who was like that one time. He, what do they call it? He was a child prodigy. And he graduated college when he was in his teens. I forget, like 15 or 16. But he said the problem was he never was with his age group. And so he like never really experienced a normal childhood. And then after he graduated, he was too young to really be part of the adult world. And then once he hit about 26, all the other smart people had just caught up to him, and he wasn't anything special. Like they were all just as smart as him. So that was kind of interesting. I was like, it's almost a curse, really, you know? I don't know. But it is wild. Like there are people, what is this guy doing? Who, you know, can play guitar. Like a lot of times it seems like it's blues guitar at a super young age, and they just, it's amazing. Just, wow. Enduring greatest G-force. He's white-lipped. Oh yeah, he is white-lipped. As his water-braked rocket sled creates an 82.6 G-force in New Mexico in 1958. He spent the next 3 days in the hospital. Oh my God, that sounds terrible. That sounds awful. What is this? Mightiest member of the animal kingdom, the blue whale is probably the largest animal that ever lived. Is Megalodon bigger than him? I don't remember. I mean, if we're doing historical. You know, one of the coolest things is you'd go to the Smithsonian Natural History Museum in Washington, D.C., and they had the blue whale skeleton hanging from the ceiling, and you'd walk like it would hang, and then there was like a upper balcony, as I recall. I could be wrong, but this is my memory, that surrounded it. So you'd walk and just look at it, and it was unbelievable. And I think last time I went to the Smithsonian, it wasn't there anymore. And I was like, oh no. Largest monkey. Largest insect-eating mammal. The moon rat of Thailand and Malaysia grows more than 27 inches. Longest tusks. Rarest dog. This is the Louchin or lion dog, of which only 52 exist. Oldest dog. Adjutant, a black Labrador gun dog, lived 27 years, 3 months in England. I don't know how long dogs live. We had a kitty cat that lived 21 years, I think. Susie. There are flowers in here. Tortoise. Snake. Whale shark. Largest fish, the whale shark, not a mammal, grows to 45 feet long and lays the largest eggs of any living creature. My mom was in the Galapagos Islands. After she retired, she took this grand adventure, and they take you off the bigger boat that they were on onto these like blow up motorboats, I think. That's how I recall her telling it. And a whale shark came up, like you could put your hand out and touch it. And they said it was super rare for them to like come around, but then that area, I guess. But then also it just was so curious and wanted to be around them. It's like pretty awesome. I don't know if they actually touched it, but they could have. It was that close. I thought that was awesome. Ooh. Spider. That's got to be a crab. Spider crab. Okay. Locust swarm. It's like one of those biblical things. Largest prehistoric mammal. Leg of the giant fossil rhinoceros and the full reconstructed body of the, boy, I've never heard of that one, Baluchitherium, now in Moscow. Longest earthworm. Ew, gross. No, I don't have a problem. Jaws of the largest fish. This shark, which lived about 25 million years ago, must have been 80 feet long. That's Megalodon. My girlfriend, one of my girlfriends growing up, she was obsessed with megalodons, and we'd go play laser tag, and her username, like on laser tag, was Ice Megalodon. So I think of that. Most recent earthquake. Oh no, sorry. Worst recent earthquake. Well, that's changed. When Alaska was hit in 1964, boats at Anchorage were lifted far inland. Huh. Interesting. Highest dormant volcano in the Andes. Tallest geyser after erupting to more than 1,000 feet high in 1909. The Waimanju geyser in New Zealand has not been active since 1917. Is that still true? Wait. Everybody stop. Is this the one? Oh my gosh. Did you guys watch the documentary about a Royal Caribbean cruise ship who had an excursion to this island where there is, I feel like it was a volcano, but it may have been like a steam volcano. So could it be this? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it has nothing to do with this, but it was a good documentary. It was a crazy story. And they were on this like Royal Caribbean excursion, you know, one of those that you pay $130 and you think you're safe and fine. And they took them there, and this thing suddenly exploded, and they had to like try to run off the island, and it was a wild story. I was like, oh my gosh, crazy. Greatest tidal change in the Bay of Fundy. Largest atoll in the Marshall Islands. That's where they did nuclear testing, right? Highest unclimbed mountain. Is it still? Gashur Brahm 3 in the Karakoram Range in Kashmir is the 15th highest peak in the world. I don't know. I bet it's been climbed. Highest waterfall. Angel Falls in Venezuela has a total drop of 3,212 feet. The first drop is 2,648 feet. Largest ice cave, the Ice Riesenwelt in Austria. Natural bridge. The size of this double arch in Arches National Monument, Utah, can be judged by the size of the man in the center. I don't see him, but I guess he's there. Am I crazy? Did this like just collapse recently or something? I feel like something like that happened. Maybe not. Longest stalactites. Do you know how to know the difference between a stalactite and a stalagmite? I'll tell you if I'm trying to remember to make sure I'm right. So in a cave, the minerals drip down, and the minerals soak through the ground, and then they drip from the ceiling, and it kind of, I don't know what the right word is, crystallizes, and they create stalactites because they are hanging on tight to the ceiling. And then it drips, and it'll create like these sort of mounded ones that come up from the ground, and they're called stalagmites because they're mighty, because they get big and big. And that's how you remember a stalactite from a stalagmite. Longest cave system. Hottest spot on Earth, Libya, where temperatures of 136.4 was recorded in the shade in 1922. Whoa. Weather records. Highest shade temperature 136 in Libya. Greatest rainfall, longest drought. Oh. Meteor showers. Largest known meteorite in Southwest Africa in 1920. The Earth as seen from the moon by Apollo 11 astronauts, the first to land on the moon. Footprint on the moon. The largest sunspot. Smallest planet. Mercury. Brightest supernova. So